Good morning, guys. I thought of an idea, and it started with something that really irked me. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that this would be a really incredible and easy change for the organization to improve the quality of life for their members, and especially the members that have dedicated their lives to them in the end to really be offered nothing. And I really don't understand why they are so rigid and inconsiderate so as not to do this. Growing up, I remember more than one talk about doing more field service. Are you giving enough? Are you dedicated enough? One talk in particular with one of my favorite elders, and that's 100% genuine sarcasm. My favorite one involved, are you doing enough? Is your life really dedicated to Jehovah? You know how you know if you're doing enough? You give until it hurts. And then you back off just a step. That's, real loving. And I remember hearing that and being livid. Because I see these little rickety old ladies grasping onto somebody's arm, struggling in their little orthopedic shoes and cane in the other hand, and kind of just struggling up the sidewalk to knock on somebody's house so that they can be rejected. Hobble back down the sidewalk, get in the car, pull forward maybe 80 or 100 feet, get out of the car, and do it again. How exhausting does that have to be? And as dedicated as they are, they've given their life to this organization, trying to bring people in, trying to preach, trying to do the good thing. When really, they should be in a place of reverence as an elder in the congregation, and not a position of an elder, but you look for the wisdom and insight, and you appreciate the more experienced ones in your congregation, in your life. And as they age and wither away, they just kind of fade out of existence until one day they pass away and there might be a service. And that just kind of breaks my heart. These old ladies get into a stage in their life when they need help, or these old men. Seems like it's mostly old ladies. These old men get into a stage in their life and they need help. And the elders tell them, have you got any children who can help you? Now, only 1 out of 3 kids, the statistic is, 1 out of 3 children raised in this organization stay. But they tend to get baptized around 12 or 14 years old, which means there's a good chance they're asking them to ask for help from people that they've been told to shun. And that the odds are they've faithfully done so. They've isolated these elderly. And to me, that's just criminal. I don't understand it. But then when they're telling, I don't want to get into that rabbit hole. But then when they're telling everybody in the congregation to give and give and give and give and give until it hurts and then back off a step. It's all about field service, knocking on doors, recruiting, active recruiting. You know, in other denominations, there's different ministries where you reach out to your community, you help your community, you love your community, you show your love in different ways than trying to convince them to believe what you believe. You inspire them in a different way. And it is a successful ministry. Like, you work in a soup kitchen, you begin to, or you benefit from a soup kitchen, and you begin to, you know, I don't know, maybe this is a good place to be. These people are so loving. Or they go and do like a Coke giveaway. Like, these people are so loving, and I appreciate what they do. Like, there's different ways to do things, and it's all just knocking on doors. Why couldn't they improve the quality of life to those who have dedicated their lives to the organization? Why do they have to be alone? Why do they fade away out of existence until, like, one day there's a funeral service for them? Why can't they include visiting and loving, showing compassion to these people, allowing them to share their wisdom and experience, and just providing company to a demographic that has got to be remarkably lonely? Why can't they count that as their field service time? Why can't they count that as their pioneer hours? There's literally stories of people who, you know, they were in town for a convention, or, you know, they need help with something, and their family won't come visit because they've got to get their hours in. Or their friends won't come visit because they've got to get their hours in. You don't think that these elderly are forgotten even more so than that? Yeah, I want to call and check in on you, but I can't visit because I got to make my field service hours. You know, this is active person to active person. What if it's like the elderly who's not necessarily physically active or socially active? They're even more so forgotten, and they're even more so left alone. I tried asking my dad once why they can't do that, because that would be the loving thing to do. And he's like, well, you should be doing that anyway. I said, well, do you? Sometimes. Well, going door to door is the loving thing too. Why can't you? That counts. Why can't you visit the elderly and count it as your field service time? Or the sick, or the disabled, or, you know, I'm aware that COVID is a thing right now, but I'm talking like this is something that has irked me for years. And it's a terrible thing that they don't allow for it. I would have rather had absolutely zero privilege in the congregation if I could make someone who should be very much loved and respected feels seen and heard and valued and loved. And not forgotten. Or not important enough. You know, maybe they feel like, oh, they got to get their field service time. That's more important than little old me. But that's pathetic. That's sad. That's heartbreaking. And you know, no matter what they say to themselves in their heads, logically, it has to hurt. Being alone. It just, the more... I visit my grandfather every week. We have a set day. And since we've started doing that, you know, just his personality just sparkles compared to what it used to. But he was lonely. He's a widower. And having that experience too, it just strikes me even more so, like, what are these people going through? These widows that have nobody. You know, maybe they have one or two people in the congregation that, you know, make it a point to pick them up for, you know, the meetings or, you know, whatever. But I don't think that's enough. And eventually when they get to the point where they can't make it to the meetings, even with the ride, like, what happens? They just kind of fade away. Now, maybe that's not the case for everyone, but the fact that it's a case for anybody when they've been, you know, so invested in this entire community, it's sad. I remember an anointed sister, and my grandfather made it a point to go visit her. I'll give him that credit. He made it a point to go visit her because it was important that she didn't feel alone. She said she hadn't had a visitor in weeks. Weeks. This is an anointed, and I remember her before she was put in a nursing home, and very admired member of the congregation. Once she hit that nursing home, she didn't have a visitor for weeks. My grandfather made it a point to say that we'll be there again next Friday. I don't think I was with him when he went to go visit, and he probably did go visit. But how do you go weeks being alone? She passed away maybe a month and a half after that. She wasn't doing well. And they had her funeral at the Kingdom Hall, and I don't remember it being a very big crowd either. Like, and granted, she was so old, she had kids that were dying before her. But yeah, I remember she was, she saw us come in to visit, and she was just so excited. She's like, oh, hold on, I gotta put on my lipstick. I don't usually wear makeup, but that little pop of color just does so much for you and makes you feel good. Oh, it's so nice to see you guys. I remember that all the time. Just a little pop of lipstick. Anyhow, I'm rambling now. Y'all have a good one. I gotta go.